see that Alpha Bay and fucking Hansa got shut down? Scripts?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, dude, fucking crazy. You know, they only lasted like maybe like a year or so.
That's why you gotta use drops, dude. You can't use your real address. It's just like credit card fraud. It's not different.
Well, I mean, it's just insane how like they didn't last that very long. Like, there is credit card fraud on those markets, but it's just like you would think that the new creators of the markets and stuff would have learned from, like, you know, Silk Road and stuff like that.
But they did. They got better. I think every iteration is going to get better, and sooner or later, I mean, I think it's wonderful. I think that the end capitalism, like anarcho-capitalism, has rescued drug addicts from their own disease. Each one of those customers who buys heroin off of the internet is not buying it from the street vendor, who's marking it up 4 or 5 times what the actual value of that drug is. So they're 4 or 5 times less likely, or directly relative, directly correlated to that. They're not out there thieving. They're not out there stealing people's shit. And that's in Alaska, property crimes are just rampant. It's disgusting.
Well, that's why the drugs should just be all legal and regulated anyway. Because, like I was saying before, about that's all the root of all the crime. It's money and drugs cost money. So if you're withholding people's addiction from them, they're willing to do crazy things like all different types of crime, when if they just got their drugs, their fix, it was regulated by the government or something like that, they would be able to get their fix, and they wouldn't have to go rob the store. They wouldn't have to do a home invasion. They wouldn't have to murder a guy, because they got their fix. That's the reason why these crimes happen. The reason why these crimes happen is because these people are so desperate to get their fix, because they don't have the money or they can't get the drug, that they're going out and doing these crimes. So
insanely high overdose rates. I've been seeing what they're putting in heroin anymore. It's fucking scary.
Well, yeah, you know, the whole fentanyl epidemic and all that.
Oh, yeah. In my home city, 20 overdoses a week.
What, in the city that you're living in right now?
No, my old city.
What are they doing? Are they doing, like, what's the big drug right now in your area? Like pills?
Heroin.
Heroin?
There's needles. The street, Walmart parking lot, the park.
It's the same here, but here, heroin's not the biggest here. It's more methamphetamine. Methamphetamine is huge. People are injecting methamphetamine. People are smoking methamphetamine. People are eating methamphetamine. They're doing all type, because you can ingest it all different ways. Like, I've seen needles and buckets of needles also, and it's very disgusting, man. Like, the government really needs to just stop, like, outlawing it with the war on drugs, and they need to just, like, kind of look at the problem, not from, like, a criminal standpoint, but from, like, an addiction standpoint, from a mental health standpoint. And they need to just understand that, you know, people want the drugs. There's nothing they can do. They can shut down this market. They can shut down that market. They can arrest this person. They can bust this dealer. But it will never end. It will be a never-ending battle. But I think they want it to be a never-ending battle, because they need they want to meet the quota. If they're not arresting all these drug addicts and all these and all the and they're not, like, catching all the crime that happens because of all these drug addicts, then they're not going. Then their job isn't going to be fucking useful anymore.
They can go out and bust, say, a cocaine dealer, and maybe $150,000. Well, that one officer who busted him just paid his salary for 2 years. And paid for 2 new cop cars, just from that one bus. See, they get to keep all of that money that they take.
Exactly. So it's almost like corruption. They want the drug addicts. They want the drug suppliers. They want these crimes to happen, because if these crimes didn't happen, they would have no income. So that's why they don't just regulate the drugs. That's why they don't just look at it from a mental health standpoint and just, you know, have a way so that addicts and stuff like that can, you know, get their fix, because they literally want the crime that's associated with those things to happen so that they can have their income. They can, you know, rank up in the ranks, get their seizures, all that kind of stuff. Because if the drugs were just legal and everyone was able to do drugs in their own home, there wouldn't be all these crimes happen, murders and home invasions and stuff like that. So then they'd have nothing to go after.
It's a new form of taxation. New form of taxation. About what?
Taxation is theft. Or just keep repeating that until people get it. Taxation is theft.
Well, like I was saying before, Pro, it's like I was saying before, we're basically just slaves for the government. They tax us. You'll never own a piece of property that you own. If they see you as a threat, they'll just take you out. You know, even if you buy a house or something or buy a piece of property, you never own it. You're always paying tax on it. It's basically like a slave tax. Like, okay, government, I know you really own me, but you're letting me basically rent this property from you, so I have to pay rent to my government every single year so they don't seize it from me. Is basically what it is. Oh, I didn't pay my I'm making income to feed my family, but I have to pay the government a slave tax every year, or else they'll throw me in prison like a slave because I make money. What's my money that I make have to do with the government? I understand, oh, they got to pay for the public road systems and all that kind of stuff. But it shouldn't be treated as like a super criminal offense, like throw someone in prison over
it. Hack everything.
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin's what?
That's what everyone needs, Bitcoin. So, all of our problems.
What's the whole point of Bitcoin? What?
The whole point of Bitcoin is that every other currency is regulated and owned by the government. So, you know, they're basically they're the ones in power. So you got to understand, the government is just human beings, right? So these human beings that are in power, they're going to use their power to make more money and stuff. So it's all just a big corrupt game, you know. Like, these people are fucking using the currency to. It's just a way. It's a way so that the currency can't be controlled by a human being. It's just controlled by the market itself. Just like not a human being, because every human is greedy. Every human wants. Okay, so like, say you're hungry. Or say you're really thirsty, and there's only one bottle of water on the table, and everyone around you is really thirsty.
And quickly jump over the table and stab you in the throat.
Exactly, and that's how it is.
Oh, that was.
So if there's any humans in charge, like the government, for example, because they're humans. Like, when you say the government, you think it's like not a human body, but it really is. It's just like a body of all different human beings that run the government. Just like I was saying about the example with the water bottle. That's what like makes Bitcoin. That's why like a lot of people like Bitcoin, is because it's not controlled by any specific group of people or anything like that. It's just controlled by the market itself. And it's anonymous and shit like that.
No, it's not anonymous, and it is controlled by the market. However, there are some serious concerns with Bitcoin that I would have.
And what would those concerns be?
Well, approximately 70% or 50% of the Bitcoins that have all been generated have been generated by Satoshi himself. So 40% of all Bitcoin in existence are owned by one individual.
Yeah, it's sort of like how the economy works with just like traditional currencies. Like, the rich have full market control or whatever. Like, there's only so much money in circulation, and if someone's rich and they have like a huge amount of money, then they literally have a huge chunk of the money that's in circulation.
But it's not in circulation. I think that if it was ever in circulation, there would be some serious red flags, and everyone would know it. I mean, everyone would be able to know that. Oh fuck! Satoshi's back. He's got the keys, and he's doing it. Rumors have speculated that he deleted the keys, but, you know, we can only really hope. But I always assume that, you know, the price of Bitcoin is actually about half the value of Bitcoin. So if that does happen, I mean, I don't have any programs monitoring either. I don't have a lot of money invested in it. Boy, I really wish I did. I wish as a kid I could go back in time and make better choices, but hey, don't we all?
Oh,
Anyway.
with the whole Bitcoin, like when it was just popping up and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I need to make some serious investments in cryptocurrencies today. It's not a fucking game anymore. There's other cryptocurrencies that are coming.
Yeah, crypto is definitely on the rise, man. Crypto is going to be the next big thing. I mean, all the older people and stuff, like I was saying before, like your parents and stuff, those people are dying out. It's our time now. It's the new generation's time, and the people that are younger than us.
1 minute, wife called me.
But yeah, but Bitcoin right now is definitely in the dumps. I mean, it's not in the dumps. It's still worth trading, but it actually right now, if you got the investment, it's actually a really good time to buy right now because it's going to go back up sometime soon. Not today, not tomorrow, but definitely.
Like 2,800.
Yeah, definitely in the next month or so, or 2 months or 3 months, it's going to go back up. So you got a bunch of money just to play around with. Go ahead and buy some Bitcoin now because it's going to go back up. But right now it's down.
Down like a day or two ago. It was down like 1,900.
Yeah, it dropped down from when it bubbled really high. At like, I think it was around like, it was around 3,000 of Bitcoin and stuff, like, not, I don't know if it was up to 3,000, but around that range, and then it just dropped down again. But you know, from the long-term forecast of Bitcoin, it's continuously going up over time. You know, maybe like you know how the markets work, like, you know, it goes up and down, up and down, up and down, but over the long term, it's still going up. So I think Bitcoin is going to be huge. Like, it's already huge, but I think it's going to be like very, very, very big.
I wonder how the market's going to handle it whenever like we're unable to mine more Bitcoins.
Then it's.
I can answer that. The miners will then process transactions. They won't be paid in fees.
Yeah, it's already all the fees. It's just going to become more cutthroat. Right now, ever since, like, you know, Alphabet and Hansa and shit, like Bitcoin, everyone's going to be selling their Bitcoins.
That's why the Bitcoin price dropped. Ah, I fucking
that could be the reason why, because that is around the same time frame. And
the reason Bitcoin has value is because drug markets use it. It's because I can send somebody 20 Bitcoin and have a person fucking eliminated. That's why Bitcoin has value. And investors are like, oh, well, that's nefarious, and I don't want to. Okay, fine, don't lose money.
That is part of the reason. It's the same as even like traditional currency. It's the same way. I mean, people use cash to do the same thing. You know, like United States dollars and stuff like that. That's definitely one of the reasons.
You know, the distance is big difference.
But yeah, like you were saying, like that is probably why the reason why it dropped. Like Alphabet, I think, had like $12 million seized in Bitcoin.
The government could have unloaded it right then.
Well, yeah, and that's going to drop the market immediately. I mean, think about because Bitcoin's not just this. It's not like the fucking New York Stock Exchange. It's not huge. It's big, but it's not that big. So like a $12 million seizure and then sale, they probably, like the government or whatever, they probably seized the Bitcoins and then sold it immediately for currency. That right there will just drop the market because people will be looking at the market and be like, whoa, $12 million drop? And then they'll all sell, you know? What were you going to say, Macro?
How much is one Bitcoin worth in U.S. currency?
2,700.
Or is it like, whoa, what the fuck?
And I was around when they were worth like $2, and that's when I was doing the whole. Yeah, if I would have just invested my nefarious earnings into something that was worth a lot, instead of buying a bunch of useless shit.
Well, I remember you were always into just hacking. I tried to get you into marketing stuff like 4 years ago, and you're just like, nah, bro, I'm into hacking.
Yeah, that's true.
Hacking what?
Don't get me wrong, hacking is definitely like a great skill to have. But it's not something that you want to do for a living. If all you do is hack for a living, you're not going to make much money. If it's a skill that you have in your tool belt that you can pull out whenever you need to use it, that's what hacking comes to, you know, is going to help you.
I would pay a pretty penny for someone to be able to hack one of my competitors' PBNs. Casually put my links in there. But
see, and that's where hacking would come as a good skill to have, right? If you're doing internet marketing and you have a competitor that's, you know, just like you were saying, has PBNs or private blog networks or whatever, and you want to hack them and take them out or rip their content or, you know, copy them and anything of that sort, hacking would be a great skill to have because you could just do it yourself. You don't have to hire someone. You could just pull out your hacking skills and be like, oh, this competitor, boom. Yeah. You know, and that's going to make you money.
I've had situations where people have like been harassing me, and you know they've ostracized me from their community, and they're a really big community. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, if you want to throw rocks at me, I'm going to throw rocks at you, but you're never going to know who hit you. And that's one of the great things about being, you know, knowing a little bit about cybersecurity is, you know, it doesn't take much to throw a few switches and turn something up, or to put a bunch of negative reviews on someone's page, or I mean, so you could pretty much buy that. Everything that has to do with like cybersecurity that you need to outsource, you can purchase.
Yeah, everything can be bought. You can either buy work with equity, or you do sweat equity, which is just doing the work yourself. So you either put the work, like you either get people to work for you with the money, or you just do the work for free yourself.
Or if you're a god tier, you get other people to do work for you for free. It doesn't work out.
Yeah, that's very hard. Like, there is some people that will do work for free, usually like hungry college students, you know, stuff like that. People that are desperate.
Hire the young always. They'll work twice as hard for half the price.
Yeah, or in third world countries. Like, I hire a lot of like Indians and stuff like that. They're working hard for like pennies.
I wouldn't hire Indians. I don't know. It's just because I like Americans, you know.
But Americans cost too much money. Like, you could hire an Indian or a Chinese person that lives in China or Afghanistan or Pakistan or something like that. They're going to do the same work an American would do. American would charge you fucking $1,000. Indian will do it for $80, you know, because the Americans are so, they have everything on the silver platter already. So they're not willing to do the work, you know, like, unless it's a huge amount of money.
I don't know. I've never hired millennials, but I want to. If I start a business, I want to hire exclusively Americans.
Once you start doing business, you'll stop thinking that way.
Yeah, you'll be like, oh my God, I just spent all this money on this American guy just because he's American, when this Indian guy over here would have did it for 90% less and did a better job.
Now, sometimes an Indian guy will burn you.
I mean,
and that happens, you know.
I've never had an Indian guy burn me, ever, because you have to outsmart another. You have to always be smart and ready for someone to burn you. You know, if you're always ready and prepared and you know that that's how it is, you'll never get burned. You only get burned when you let your guard down.
I like to do business with people I trust.
Honestly, I trust an Indian more than an American. You know why? Okay, listen. You hire an American. This guy just had steak and potatoes for dinner. You know, he had a nice cut of steak. He had a nice cut of potatoes. He's not going to do that hard of work for you. He's already eating good. Why does he want your little $500? He just had steak and potatoes for dinner. That's chump change. But the Indian guy, just listen for a minute. The American just had steak and potatoes for dinner. He's not hungry. Your little $500 is just steak and potatoes to him, right? He's not going to put in the same effort. An Indian guy, he just had a 25-cent meal. He's been eating rice every day for the past 6 years. That's all he eats is rice. He's so hungry to have some steak and potatoes, this guy's going to put his fucking life effort into your project. Do you understand that? But anyway, let's go to another topic. Let's talk about internet marketing scripts.
You do.
What cost per action network are you on?
I use Dabblodome exclusively.
You switched off of CPA grip?
Ever since they banned a buddy of mine, he screwed him over on about $8 grand, I think, that they owed him.
Really?
Mitch through there, and John was allowing it like 3 years and $250,000. Well, 300,000 I think was paid out to him, and randomly around Christmas.
That's what happens.
What he shaved all that money off you, or?
John never took any of my money, thankfully. He just closed my buddy's account out entirely.
Oh, I see what you're saying. What? And he said it was like? Did he say it was like fraud traffic or something?
No, he just said it was an adult niche, which he knew.
Mm.
Just found a convenient excuse to just say
Scam
fuck
him.
you.
Yeah, that's how it works sometimes. That's how a lot of these darknet markets are working. Like everyone, ever since Alpha banned Hansa and everything, they're looking for the next place to go. And people are saying like, yeah, Dream's up, Dream Market and stuff, but don't go on Dream because that's what the admins are doing over there. That's how a lot of the admins of the darknet markets, they're making all their money and stuff because they're just like scamming some vendors. Oh, this guy's got a bunch of money, he's leaving in his wallet. Boom, scam him. Just close his account, said he did something wrong, take his money. So that's why so a lot of people are just getting off a CPA lead now grip because they're scamming their members.
I don't see any big earners on CPA grip.
Ooh, so it's died out. Because
15th of December.
Do what?
I think ever since the 15th of December, whenever they quote-unquote banned black hat niches again.
CPA grip banned black hat niches.
That's what it says on that. That's what everyone quote-unquote says, but everyone's still running it on there. Just all the big earners, they just kind of disappeared.
They said, oh, they're not accepting, more questionable ways of promotion, so I'm going to go over to another website that does.
Adgate, Adlodome.
Yeah, and I mean, I just hate that some people, they call them black hat niches or black hat methods. They're not black hat methods. They're not black hat niches. By calling it a black hat niche, by calling it a black hat method and stuff, you're putting heat on yourself. All they are is just unethical niches or unethical. If you go to church, you're not going to like these niches. Doesn't mean it's illegal. Doesn't mean it's against the law. It just means that it's unethical. It's like some people, they don't like watching movies about drug lords and horror movies and stuff. The horror movie's not illegal. It's not illegal to watch Freddy vs. Jason or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's just some people it's just distasteful to some people.
Yep.
Yeah, CPA grip was doing like amazing like a couple of years back, but I knew it would die out. CPA lead's doing pretty good.
I've never seen CPA lead do decent at all.
CPA lead is one of the biggest. CPA lead's one of the biggest companies doing it. They got a huge office in Nevada, I believe.
My traffic never converts on that network. Never.
Same.
I do not know why. It just does not convert.
Yeah. I get the same thing. I mean,
clicks, getting nothing.
But there's nowhere really else to go, really.
Adlodome.
I've never heard of them.
You get around $2.24 per email submit. About a steady 6% conversion.
For like U.S. traffic?
Yeah.
Hey, I've got a wireless access point. I want to force users to go through a sign-up form. And I tried making money on this before. It didn't work. But I use CPA lead, so I've only got a fucking audience of like 50 people though, so that might be fine.
You just want to charge them, directly through PayPal or whatever.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do
what I
that.
end up doing.
$2.45 for U.S. traffic is amazing, because I know a lot of places right now, other networks and stuff, it's like less than $1. You're going into the pennies, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 cents for email submits. So $2.45 is very good. How about like like European countries, mobile submits? Are they in the $20 range, $30 range, $15 range, stuff like that?
It changes daily because how the offers are. But here recently there was a bunch of $13 French pin submits, a couple $8 German no scrub.
So it's CPA just isn't right now in the current market. There's just no $40 French offers. There's no country that's killing it like France used to kill it back in the day with like $40 offers. Like one survey completion was $40 from France maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. There's no other countries that are doing that anymore. There's no advertisers that are willing to pay that amount of money for CPA right now.
Well, everyone has raped, like literally rapes them for as much money as possible, to the point where the phone providers are like, fuck this shit. We're not going to allow you to pull this type of shit on our users. And they're blocking using regulations on a lot of these countries.
Yeah, like the United States outlawed mobile submissions and stuff like that. So it's all a law game. But I think what's really happened is that, like you were saying, like a lot of the the mobile providers and stuff, they're going to lawmakers and they're introducing regulations that were never in place before. That and around like 2012, 13, 14, like CPA and PPD marketing, all that stuff just exploded. Tons of people came in and started promoting with CPA and PPD. So the more people that are promoting campaigns for advertisers, the less advertisers have to pay for each completion or offer, etc., because there's more people that are bringing in traffic, so they don't have to pay as much per completion, because they just have so many different people all bringing in the traffic. Like it's a supply and a demand thing. Maybe like a couple years back when it wasn't so popular, they would pay $40 for an offer completion. But now, because there's so many people that say are seeing that like CPA is making tons of money, I want to do CPA. Then they start doing CPA. Now they only have to pay $8 or $13 per completion for the same thing that they used to have to pay $40, just because there's more supply now, because there's so many people doing it.
What I understand from talking to network owners and other affiliates, most people don't break like $20 a day. Like most people, like 95% of people who do IM, CPA, and all that kind of stuff don't make shit. They literally don't.
Well, that's how it's always been. I mean, it's always been like that. You have the high earners and then you have the low earners. Like, we would make like $100, $200, $300, $500, $1,000 a day. And then you'd have, the newbies or the people that just couldn't figure it out, and they'd be making, a couple dollars a day. And it's just how it is.
But the thing is so vastly different. Say there's only like 1,000 people on your CPA network. Well, 3,000 of them are active, actually getting clicks. And then there's maybe 100 of them or maybe 200 of them that break $50 a day.
Yeah.
And there's one guy at the very top who makes, $5,000 a day. Very top.
That's why for now, right now, I'm focusing on the whole YouTube stuff, building my own personal brand and stuff, trying to stay away from that specific area of marketing. I'm not marketing any cost per action stuff right now, really. I have my sites that I previously put up and stuff, and they're all still generating revenue, and they're still all up. But for now, I'm going to wait until the supply and the demand. We're not the supply and demand, but I'm going to wait until the supply goes down and the demand goes up. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to wait for more people to drop out of CPA, drop out of PPD, so the advertisers pay more money, and then it's going to be worth marketing CPA stuff again.
I don't think it's ever going to really... I don't think the pin submits are going to fix themselves. I think it's just a matter of time before, banned altogether.
No.
Keep in mind, the price of data transfer and storage is zero.
It's never going to get banned, Scripps. That's just how the internet works. It's
you guys
ad
should
money.
really look into the newer marketing methods out there, specifically push notifications. Push notifications are encrypted. They're peer-to-peer. There's no censorship that could be taking place. It's pretty fucking...
Yeah, that goes back to adaptability. Like, every single day, there's new stuff that you have to adapt to. Every single day, you have to adapt.
Yeah, and the mainly is... Like, so I spent a good year and a half now developing a marketing platform that sends mail, like physical mail, through Lob. It sends email, like MailChimp sends SMS notifications. And the last thing I wanted to tackle was push notification, because I wanted to use it in addition to the wireless hotspot. And I can still make tons of money with this idea, because the businesses that you're targeting aren't like the reason CPA isn't paying anymore is because no one wants to fucking pay you for it anymore. But you have to go out there in the community, you have to find people, say, hey, listen, I can build you your empire, I can build your infrastructure for you, I can help you get more money, and it'll be really worth it. Put me on a salary of X, and I'll be your web guy. Then they'll fucking do it.
Yeah, CPA is paying. We were just explaining that it goes back to the supply and demand, bro. Just like CPA exploded, everyone wanted to do it. There was more people trying to promote CPA, so then the advertisers didn't have to pay as much money for it anymore. Those are the people that are paying. It goes back to the whole YouTube adpocalypse. It's all about the guys that are paying to have their ads seen, those huge companies. They're paying money. They say, just like when you create a Facebook campaign, you say, okay, I'm willing to pay 25 cents per click, this, that, and the other. The companies are doing the same thing. They're going to these these networks and they're saying, for every single person that they can bring in, I'm willing to pay $13. I'm willing to pay $40. And the amount that the advertisers are willing to pay all depends on how much supply is coming in. And that's all it is. It's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down.
How many people are actually buying ads? Because I think the number of people, I don't think mom and pop shops are doing it.
No, it's online businesses. You know, they want to. It's traffic. They're buying traffic to their service.
Like 20 million Facebook advertisers, maybe. That somewhere.
Yeah, it's a multi-billion-dollar business, but I'm just taking a break from CPA right now, just for the fact that I want to build my other businesses.
Nothing wrong with the diversification.
Yeah, exactly. Diversification. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, because if it does, for say all these YouTubers, they put all their money in one all their eggs in one basket, their YouTube channel, and then ad money dropped on YouTube, and now they can't pay their bills because they didn't a lot of them didn't diversify. Some of them, Roman Atwood, stuff like that, they have been diversifying for years. They have their merchandise lines and all these different ways that they can generate revenue other than just ads. And those people stay afloat. But all these people that put all their eggs in one basket for just YouTube ad money, they're done.
One thing that I noticed is a few months ago, I was talking to some random guy at Best Buy, and he was like, yeah, dude, I'm this big YouTuber, I have 50,000 subscribers, NBA sent me this copy of 2K16 3 months ahead of time, and I got to play it and this, that, and the other. Thinking in my head, this bubble's gonna pop in 3 months or 4 months. Maybe 6, that's pushing a little bit.
Well, YouTube's been around since a long time, and it's never gonna. It's always gonna be. It's always gonna be a big traffic source. But
but whenever you hear someone random who's a noob,
it's all about how you monetize. It's all about how you monetize your platform, right? For instance, I only have 7,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, but I'm making more money than some people that have 10 million subscribers because I know how to monetize my traffic. Right? Some of these people that have 10 million subscribers, they're stupid. For instance, PewDiePie. This guy's got 50 million subscribers. He's poor as fuck compared to what he could be. He could be one of the richest men in the world. He's got the biggest channel on a website that brings in hundreds and hundreds of millions of people daily. And he's not a fucking he's not rich. He's not people, yeah, he's doing all right, but he's not as rich as he could be because he doesn't know how to monetize his following, and then you got people that only have 7,000 followers like myself on YouTube, and I'm fucking dominating and making bank, because it's not about it's not about how much traffic you have. It's about how you convert that traffic to sales or leads or money or whatever.
There were studies, and PewDiePie is like the #1 earner on YouTube.
He's not making that much money though compared to what he could make. If you watch his videos, why isn't he in a $25 million mansion? He's in the middle of a cubicle. Like a lot of his videos, he's sitting in his office in a cubicle, recording videos of him just making fun of stuff, etc. He's not making much money, because if he was, he wouldn't be sitting in a 5x5 cubicle. He would be sitting in a marble floor mansion, right? If I had 15 million followers or 50 million followers, I would be able to monetize that traffic and that following. And what I'm trying to say is, a lot of these big YouTubers, they don't have the, they don't know how to market, they don't know how to monetize their traffic properly. Like, yeah, he's doing good. He's the biggest on YouTube, like I was saying. He's got access to hundreds of millions of people that are coming on YouTube and looking at him. But he's not making money off them the way he should be.
Are you guys familiar with like bell curves?
Who?
Yeah, bell curves. Like, so what's really interesting is
who? I don't know who you said. Bellator?
Sorry, bell curves. So basically, the great thing about, like, I don't think YouTube's going to pop or content creation is going to pop. I think that there's an equation basically states that of all your employees, 10% of them contribute like 80% of your work or something. There's this astonishing number where you have like 4 or 5 key star employees. Those guys make most of your money. Well, the same thing is true about free content creation. So as it is easier for people to create content, there will be more content. As there is more content, the good content will be picked out. And that's a big threat for CNN, that's a big threat for MSNBC, that's a big threat for Fox News, it's a big threat for every one of the cable news providers, it's a big threat for HBO. We've seen it with Netflix, where they've gotten on the scene, they're starting to produce their own very liberal, Jewish-minded, Zionist agenda, crap. But the point is as more people enter and create content, it could be a bubble, but I think the problem is standing out, really, is the big deal.
Yeah, and you know what I think would really be the real bubble? Not any individual website itself, not YouTube, not Facebook, not Twitter, but the whole internet itself. Everything that we have invested into as humans right now, that's like where all our information, all our money is at. If we ever got hit with, like, say, a very bad natural disaster, an EMP, a very bad one that just took the whole power grid out, so that the whole internet got fucked up and no one could get on it and stuff like that, that would be the bubble right there popping. The whole, if something like that were to happen, like a very bad natural disaster or something of that sort, where the world couldn't access the internet, or the internet just got, fucked, like something happened to it, because of an EMP, like a electronic magnetic pulse or something, that would just cause the world to go into chaos, because we've invested so much of our money and our resources into these like electronical platforms, where if something happened to the electronic grid or something like that, which is very possible, there you go, the bubble's bursted and fucking the world's into chaos, because everything's in technology now. I
mean, that has happened.
That's the greatest threat. No, but I'm talking not like a temporary EMP, not just like a small one, but like, say, like something very big happened. You know what I mean? That would instantly pop everything.
Something similar to that happened with the whole a hacker or hackers attacked the DNS servers. See, the whole internet is propped up on like a dozen US-based servers that connect IP addresses to domain names. Well, normal people don't know how to type in an IP address to find a website, so they rely on wellsfargo.com.
Yeah, and
or google.com.
Exactly.
Well, those DNS servers got DDoSed, technically. I mean, you said so yourself, cybersecurity, anything.
I mean, I remember exactly what attack you're talking about, and you're exactly right. I mean, a lot of these people, they they're point-and-click users. You know, they're not on the internet because they're technologically smart. They're just on the internet to, you know, enjoy it almost. So they don't understand how, you know, anything works, really. They don't understand that the domain name that you enter really just forwards to an IP address, which is a server that your computer connects to. They just don't understand that, right?
Yeah, and if they can't access their bills to pay their bills, like their electric, they're fucked.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying about how, like, I don't think it's any individual website that's going to pop. Our greatest threat is something happening. If something big happens to any part of the infrastructure that holds these pieces of technology that we so rely on, we're instantly fucked. All of us, the whole world, everyone's invested their business into the internet, like banks, every single company.
Well, I'm being an information security major. I think I can say that with some certainty. Like, project managers spend a lot of money on people like me just to make sure that their little information system doesn't go kaput. And we can definitely make sure an information system doesn't go kaput against pretty much any natural disaster. I mean, it's intense what we can do these days.
But you know, we want to think as humans like we can control everything. But the fact is, if we get hit with a natural disaster that's that bad, we can't control it. If we get hit by an asteroid, we can't control it. You know, we think like, oh yeah, NASA's developing guns and lasers to do. No, if the fucking asteroid, like some things, they're just out of our control. You know, like people get killed by tornadoes, and just we're only humans, and there's only certain things we can control. So all we can do is just pray that nothing of that nature happens in our lifetime, in our kids' lifetime, or anytime soon. You know what I mean? That's all we can do, because just how it is, man. The sun could explode in supernova and we're done. You know, it's just we got to pray that it just doesn't happen in our lifetime or anytime soon, you know, in our descendants' lifetimes. But it's going to eventually happen.
It's going to become irrelevant. Remember, the cost of that, I mean, what would be more scary is if this became self-aware. Like, we're teaching AI to do all kinds of really crazy stuff, but it's still different than how we learn. So we haven't imitated evolution. We've imitated, well, we've just taught it through pattern recognition. It's all artificial intelligence, really.
Yeah, you've seen on CNN recently, like, the attorney general and stuff, they're all having, like, a big debate on whether they should, like right now, like, a lot of these, like, these weapons that use like robots and stuff like that to actually like take a human's life or something like that, an actual human has to give the go ahead to the robot, or like the, you know, the authority, like, okay, like it's like some of the, you know, like like these drones or something. The human being, okay, he spots a terrorist and he says, okay, I give authentication to the robot to eliminate this terrorist. Right now, they're in debates if they should just let the robot itself make that decision, right? And a lot of people are in uproar because they're saying, well, what happens if, you know, the software corrupts and the robots don't, you know, they're not taking any command from an actual human being? It might be like the movie I, Robot. You know, like the robots might fucking just turn on us and shit if you give them so much intelligence.
John Connor all over again.
And that's a real thing. That's a real thing that could probably happen. Not as, I don't think on a grand scale as fucking iRobot, where there's like individual robots, but some of these systems that they have that are completely controlled, if they were completely controlled. Anyway, guys, that was 45 minutes. I want to thank everyone for coming in today and having a nice Discord discussion. I want to make sure everyone subscribes to StacksAMilli, youtube.com/StacksAMilli. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/TheStacksAMilli.